Okay, hello, Beth Cohen.
Hi.
Nice to meet you from Brandeis University. Welcome to Southampton High School to our 2016 Skype sessions.
Yeah.
Very pleased to have Brandeis join us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Felicitas.
Felicitas.
Okay.
Love that. Absolutely love that name. Just without disclosing names, just for you to know, Felicitas, we did have a senior, one of our current seniors, was accepted and will be attending Brandeis University next year. So,
Dr. Rodriguez, I have a student.
yay!
I have two
You
now.
have two. Yay!
Good afternoon.
I
Good
called
afternoon.
Felicitas and I called some other ones and they were not interested, but I'm telling them, next recess is going to be also swimming schools.
Yes.
That'd be great for them too. So
Right.
I want them to see how nice it is to
Right.
have someone from the school
Right.
talking about,
Right, and
So
she's
it's-
there just sitting, waiting, and it's better than talking to an empty room.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Do you want to introduce yourself to our, she's live over here. Want to say hello? What's your name?
Presentes tú solita. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Ya.
Where can I speak to?
Right there, you can say your name.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Robin, and I'm a student at Southampton High School.
Robin Carreto, right?
Robin
Just
Carreta.
because I've heard it. So. Yay, all right.
Oh my, we've got a whole group.
We do.
Wonderful.
So this is Beth Cohen from Brandeis University, and we're excited at Southampton to have her Skyping with us. We have one of our seniors this year is going to be attending Brandeis next year, and we're real excited about that, and Brandeis was very generous in meeting his financial needs, so we're not going to say anything about that, but it's just really fantastic. So Beth, do you want to tell us about Brandeis, and if people have questions, I have questions.
Sure, definitely. So I'll first ask all of you, are any of you familiar with Brandeis? Have you heard of us?
I have.
Some,
Okay, one has.
you know a little bit? Awesome. So I'll start with the very, very basics. We are located right outside of Boston. So we're in the Boston area. We're not right in the city. We're 9 miles outside of the city of Boston in a town known as Waltham. So we have sort of that traditional suburban campus style feel. So, you know, there's a lot of green space, and, you know, anyone you see on campus is probably supposed to be there. They're probably a part of our community. Size-wise, we're a school of about 3,600 undergraduate students. So, you know, on one hand, we don't really fit that small size school category, but on the other hand, we're not really a medium-sized school either. I personally kind of think it's the perfect number size-wise because we're small enough that, you know, as you walk around campus, you are always going to run into a friend, a classmate, someone you kind of know to, you know, say hello and awkwardly wave and smile at. But we're big enough that, you know, even by the end of your senior year, you're never going to know everyone. So on one hand, it's comfortable, but on the other hand, it's not, you know, too comfortable. More than just, you know, the number of people on campus, we really pride ourselves on the community we have. Our students are really, you know, warm, they're welcoming, they're open-minded. People will hold the door for you a little bit too long. They'll say hello to you, even if you don't know them. You know, so we have this word Brandesian. It's anyone or anything who is Brandeis-y. We say they're Brandesian. And I always have a hard time defining what this means because there's not one type of student at Brandeis. It's, you know, someone who is really true to themselves, probably has 15 different interests and wants to pursue them all, and is really excited about having friends who are different than they are and really celebrating those differences and, you know, encouraging one another to be the best that they can be. So that's a little bit about us, you know, socially and just where we're located. But academics are probably also important to know a little bit about. So we are a liberal arts research university. So have you guys heard of liberal arts colleges? On one hand, yeah, I see some nods. And then on the other hand, have you heard of large research universities? Maybe.
Here's our accepted student.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. All right, so to speak a little bit about academics, being a liberal arts research university, what this means is we, you know, have small class sizes that you might find in a liberal arts college. We have a lot of flexibility in our curriculum in what you choose to study. So you can have as many as 3 majors and 3 minors. They don't have to always go together. So you could study biology and chemistry, but you could also major in biology and studio art, and that would be totally the norm at Brandeis. So there's a lot of, you know, room to really be yourself in the classroom. So that's sort of the liberal arts field, but as I said, we're also a research university. So we are considered an R1, Research 1 university. We're sort of in that the top group of research schools in America. So we've got faculty members who are known around the world for the work they're doing. You know, we have almost 90 labs in the sciences on campus. We've got research going on across the disciplines, so it's a great place to be if, you know, you sort of want to get your hands wet, you have these questions you want to ask, and you want to have support and resources to find those, you know, find answers to those questions. So academically, we sort of hit it all there. You can, you know, take advantage of whatever it is that you want to take advantage of. Let's think. One other thing I always find is important to talk about with Brandeis is a little bit about our history. So we were found in 1948, which compared to a lot of schools here in New England, you know, even in New York and the whole northeastern part of America, we're a pretty young school. But in the 1940s, there were these quota systems in place at the elite institutions of America. So in the admissions process, people were discriminated against on the basis of their race, religion, or gender. And essentially, if you didn't fit, you know, what the schools considered to be the norm, you know, there were very few spots for you, you know. So it was hard to get into these schools. So members of the American Jewish community were one of the groups being discriminated against, and they sort of got tired of the status quo and said, you know what, enough's enough. Why don't we just start our own school? And it's not just for us, it's for everyone to come to, you know, regardless of their race, religion, ethnicity, gender, socioeconomic status, none of that will matter. This is really a place for people to come based on their potential and merit and, you know, what they're going to contribute to the world. So we were found on these principles of inclusivity, really being a safe haven for everyone. And so that's really shaped who we are today. So this idea of, you know, social justice and looking at the world around us and looking at our own communities and, you know, always trying to make things a little bit better and always trying to make things a little bit more fair is something that's really a big part of the Brandeis community. So that's a brief synopsis. I don't know if you have any specific questions or anything you would all like me to touch upon.
It is a relatively small school, and, you know, Southampton, we have roughly about 600 students.
Okay.
What's your estimate of the class sizes typically, freshmen compared to upperclassmen, faculty-studio ratio kind of thing?
Yeah, so the average class size will be around 20 students, maybe 22. We do have a few intro-level classes that some students might take in their first year or two that could be upwards of 100 or so students. Like off the top of my head, I know that intro to anthropology and intro to psychology, intro to biology, some of those intro-level courses might be a little bit larger, but by and large, classes are discussion-based. They're going to, you know, really be personal. Your professors are going to know you, and they're going to know your names really on in the semester. So it's not one of these schools where all of your classes are going to be with hundreds of other students.
Okay.
We do have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So, you know, faculty, they're here to teach and they want to get to know their students, and they definitely take advantage of our size and you know, the opportunities they have to get to know them. I guess to speak a little bit about the faculty and student relationship, they have mandatory office hours every week, something like 12 hours a week, where the professors just have to be sitting in their offices with the doors open, waiting for people to come. So that's great if, you know, you have questions about something you learned in class that week, or you're struggling a little bit with the homework, you're nervous for an exam, you can talk to them. But a lot of the times they really just want to get to know their students. They want to know who you are outside of their class. So it's a great way to talk to them and be like, hey, this is my favorite, you know, TV show, or, you know, this is who I am. And they love to have those sort of conversations too.
How many of your classes, like what portion are taught by TAs or full-time professors?
Yeah, so, I don't know if I have the exact number, but it's in the high 90s, so I'll say
Okay.
like 95 or plus % are taught by full-time professors. We have a few classes every semester that would be taught by graduate students, but these are graduate students who have been specially selected. They win an award to design a class, so they're not only being recognized for being, you know, really bright and really scholarly and good at what they're studying, but they're also recognized that they have a lot of teaching potential, so they're given the opportunity to design and then teach their own course.
Sounds great. How about, do you have study abroad opportunities?
Yes, we definitely do. So it's definitely something we encourage all of our students to do. About half the junior class will go abroad in their junior year, but a lot of students will go abroad in the summer. Some students will go abroad for an entire year. We have over 70 programs in close to 300 countries, so you can go anywhere in the world and really have any type of experience. A lot of these programs aren't specifically just for Brandeis students, so you'll with students from all over America, all over the world, and it's great to have so many options because you can pick, if you want to go to a country and really work on your language skills and really be immersed in that, you can do that. If you want to go and do field work, you can do that. If you want to do an independent study somewhere and just sort of travel around and do a project, that's also doable. So like I've heard of someone studying midwifery in Nepal. We've had someone study comedy in Chicago, which isn't really abroad, but it's not really on our campus. I used to say I've heard of people going everywhere in the world except Antarctica, and then just last week, one of our students who works in the admissions office said, actually, my friend's trying to go to Antarctica next week. So you can definitely go abroad, and we definitely want our students to go, see what else is out there, and then come back to our campus and share that info with everyone.
Great.
How diverse is the school?
How diverse is the school?
Yeah, great question. So we really pride ourselves on being a community where everyone is celebrated, everyone's recognized, and that sort of stems back to that history piece I was talking about. So about a fifth or so of our student population is international students. A similar percentage identify as students of color. So there's really people from all over America. We have nearly every state represented, close to 70 countries represented in our undergraduate population. So we consider our campus to be diverse really in every sense of the word, whether that's background, belief, religion, ethnicity, any of that.
Can they give information about tuition, how expensive it is to attend school?
Do you really want to? She wants to know about tuition. But all right, so tuition, it is one of the most expensive universities. However, they also have merit scholarships, and so don't be distracted in thinking the young man who just walked in the room is going to be paying this, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
With tuition, to give a number, like all in with room and board, we're about $64,000 for an entire year, which definitely can sound like a lot, and I certainly understand it sounds like a big number, but we really do our best to not let finances be a barrier for students who want to be at Brandeis and who really should be part of our community. So we have merit scholarships, which all students are automatically considered for when they apply to Brandeis. So you don't have to do an extra application or write extra essays. You're automatically qualified for that, and the average package there is around $17,500 a year. And we also have a lot of need-based financial aid. So that's something you do have to apply for, but most of our financial aid budget, like if we had a pie of financial aid and money that we give out, most of it is actually need-based aid and really, trying to do our best not to make it just in loans and giving or having people go into debt.
How many languages can you learn there?
How many languages can a student learn there?
Oh gosh, we have, I don't know the exact number off the top of our head, but we have probably 15 to 20 different languages. I wish I had a list on me right now to read off of, but we have, sort of standard languages that you might think of, like Spanish. We have German, we have French, we have Latin, we have Greek, we have Hebrew, we have Yiddish, we have Japanese, we have Korean, we have Mandarin Chinese, we have Ancient Akkadian, we have Arabic, we have there's a number of other languages that are taught through our classics department and through our Near Eastern and Judaic Studies department that are these ancient languages that, in all honesty, I had no clue even existed. So a lot of opportunities to learn languages on campus, and a lot of students take advantage of that.
Right.
Is she a student there?
Are you a student there, or were you a student there?
Yeah, good question. So I work in admissions now. I'm an admissions counselor here, but I am a Brandeis alum, so I did go to Brandeis, loved it as a student for 4 years, so much so that I still work there. Here I am. But yeah, it's a good place.
And are you the regional rep? Like, would you be reading applications for students from Long Island?
Yeah, so I currently handle all of Long Island, so Nassau, Suffolk County. I'm sort of the primary contact in the office. If any of you have questions or anyone else on the island has questions, I'm sort of your go-to in our office. I also do a lot of traveling, primarily in the fall, across the island and trying to visit people in their hometowns and their schools. And then I'm the first of ultimately many readers of all applications from the area.
What would you say are your most popular majors?
Oh, good question. So some of the bigger ones would be biology, psychology, economics, neuroscience is pretty popular. We have something called HSSP. It stands for Health, Science, Society, and Policy. It's sort of like a public health major, but it incorporates a little bit more science and also a little bit more of sort of that sociology type curriculum. So that's pretty unique to Brandeis and pretty popular. And then just the general sort of humanities, social sciences, so anthropology, sociology are pretty popular as well.
What's it like for students at Brandeis on the weekends? I know you said you're close to Boston, on campus, off campus kinds of things for kids to do on the weekends.
Yeah, good question. So that's always important to think about what life outside the classroom would be like at a school. We have over 280 student-run clubs and organizations. There's sort of traditional things you can be part of, like an a cappella group or a theater group, a political group, a community service group. We also have clubs that are slightly more non-traditional, like the Cheese Club, which just holds cheese tastings throughout the semester. Everyone can just show up and eat cheese together. We also have a cupcake club where students get together, sometimes on the weekends, sometimes on weeknights, and just bake cupcakes and then eat them together and share them with their friends. So there's a lot of great student, clubs to be a part of. We always have different things going on the weekend, whether that's a movie screening or a concert going on campus or a special speaker or a dance party, with some sort of cool music and entertainment. There's a lot going on campus. A lot of students also take advantage of our hometown, which is Waltham. So our campus it's like a 10-minute walk or so from the town of Waltham, and we're known in the area as being the town with all the really, really good food, and most of it is really affordable at a student's budget. So on a nice day, you can walk into town. If it's cold or dark or rainy or any of that, we have free shuttles that take students from anywhere on campus to anywhere in town and back until like 2 or 3 a.m. So great way to take advantage of our immediate backyard. And then students also go into Boston because it's this young, vibrant city. There's over 250,000 other college students there, so you can really do anything in Boston, from shopping and going to restaurants to taking advantage of museums with some of our discounted passes or the aquarium, and whatever it is that you want to do, Boston probably has that.
Go ahead.
What kind of music programs do they have?
What kind of music programs do you have?
Oh yeah, great. So as far as sort of academically majoring or minoring in music, you can definitely do that. It's a really great department with really supportive faculty. Your classes in the music program are going to be pretty small, and typically you can sort of concentrate on a certain area. So you could concentrate on performance, you could focus on composition, you could sort of do musical studies, which would be more like culturally looking at music around the world and here in America and sort of what that is like. So a lot of really neat coursework going on within the music department. But outside of academics, it's really easy to be involved in music on campus. We have 15 a cappella groups, which is supposedly the most per capita of any school in America. We've got 2 orchestras. We have a student orchestra that only plays show tunes for musicals and movies. We have a number of theater groups on campus that are always looking for pit orchestras as well. There's always different sorts of ensembles forming, so there's a lot of arts and music on campus.
Good question. Are there any classes that freshmen are required to take?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I guess to speak generally about our curriculum, there's no one class that everyone has to take. We say we don't want to teach you what to think, but we want to teach you how to think and how to, analyze things for yourself. So we do want to make sure that you're graduating sort of as a well-rounded person. You're able to really understand the whole world around you. So we have what are called distribution requirements, which are areas we want you to have knowledge in. So we want you to take a class that covers non-Western thought, something that covers humanities and the social sciences, and quantitative reasoning. But most courses that we offer would probably cover 2 or 3 of these different areas. So that it's, instead of saying like, oh, you have to take Psychology 101, you're allowed to pick which sort of social science course you want to take. So that's sort of our curriculum in general. As far as first year courses, we do ask that all first years take what we call a UWS, or a University Writing Seminar. These are small courses, usually around 15 students, that are really, they're pretty discussion based, and it's also just helping all students adjust to writing and sort of the general college expectations. So it's a good transitionary course, and we ask that all students take that in their first year of Brandeis. But other than that, there's no one course that everyone will take.
What are the characteristics that they look for in picking a student? One of the most.
Awesome question. Well, what are I'm going to say this verbatim. What are the characteristics you're looking for in students?
As far as admissions goes?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's no one thing we really look for in a student. I mean, when we read an application, we have what we call a holistic review process, which means, we're looking for students who are going to be successful in our classrooms. We want to make sure you're going to come here and really, be able to do well. But other than that, we're just looking for who you are as a person, what type of ideas and energy and dynamics you have, and how you'll fit into our campus community, and then how we can fit into your life. So as far as, there's no run trait we're really looking for. It's just you as a person.
Okay, now let's get to the academic criteria.
Yes.
Nice person, but you've got to be able to handle yourself there, right?
Yes. So as far as academics go, with admissions, the first thing we look at when we read an application is your high school transcript. So we don't really look too much at GPA because it really varies, from one school to another, let alone within a school. It can mean so many different things. What we really are looking at is the type of courses you've taken and then how you've done in those courses. So we want to see students who have challenged themselves in high school, taken advantage of, whatever the more rigorous courses in their high school are. So we get a sense, through meetings like this and through reading the school profile of what your school is like, sort of what the average student is like, and we want to make sure that you've challenged yourself appropriately. We're looking for students who have A's and B's in some of those more rigorous courses, but we also understand some of those upward trends in grades. So if, let's say, freshman year, sophomore year, they were kind of difficult, a little bit of a rocky start to high school, we totally get that. It's normal. We understand. And if you have one of those upward trends, it sort of shows us that you'll be continuing on that trend and be successful when you get to college. So that's what we're looking at as far as the transcript goes. But we are, of course, also looking at testing. I should say we are a test optional school. Are you guys familiar with what test optional means? Yeah, okay, I see some nods. So for us, we understand that for some students, they can take a standardized test, and that really reflects, how capable they are academically. For other students, the scores really don't connect, and they really don't reflect all of their, achievements and potential. So we give students 3 options to choose from when it comes to testing. The first option you have is to submit either the SATs or the ACTs. And so I know we have the new SATs, the old SATs. We get a lot of questions about what we prefer. If you've taken the old SATs, you can send them to us. If you're taking the new SATs, we'll also take those too. For the new SATs, we're neither requiring nor recommending, so you don't have to take the writing section. But if you have, you can send that to us. So that's the first option you have. The second option you have is to send us a combination of 3 subject exam scores, so SAT 2s, APs, or IBs. We ask that one is a math or science, one is an English or social science, and then the third could be another math, another English course, foreign language, arts, whatever else you want it to be. I always say that's for students who do better, filling in bubbles for 2 hours, not 6 hours. You like a more targeted exam, that could be a good option. And then our third option is because we understand that some students are so bright, they're rock stars in the classroom. Well, when it comes to filling in any bubbles, it's not their thing, and that's fine. We really get it. So those students can submit a graded analytical paper, something you've written usually in 11th grade, 12th grade, something that you've shown some critical thought, maybe you've done a little bit of research, and we'll read that paper all the way through, and it gives us a very real sense of what you've done academically. So we have 3 options, and it's up to you to pick which is the right one.
And for students who do submit SAT scores, do you have a profile of what those scores look like to give just kind of a guide?
Yeah, so the middle 50% 50% of admitted students in the past few years have had about a 20 to a 2200 on the SATs. That is by no means a guarantee on one end or a cutoff on the other. We don't have any minimum scores. And you know, it'll be interesting to see with the new SATs what happens with that.
What would you say is the best kept secret about Brandeis?
Oh, the best kept secret. It's a good one. I might say the people, although I don't know it's a secret. It's, you know, if you ask any Brandeis students or staff, alumni what they love, more often than not, they're going to say the people, the sense of community here, the fact that people are so different. You know, it's normal to have someone who's passionate about both, you know, computer science and ultimate frisbee and marine biology, and they're pursuing all of that here. It just makes for a really interesting community, and you know, people are very nice. So.
And you did mention about the food. I did read in the Fisk guide that Brandeis boasts having the best college food in the Boston area.
Yes, I think we were voted that at one point in the past few years. I'd say the food is pretty good. We have 2 main dining halls on campus, and then a lot of smaller little cafe type places. You know, when I was there as a student, every year the food got better and better, and it continues to get that way.
Any other questions? Bus is leaving, so people.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Do you want to talk to her after we're done at all?
I have to go in like 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to stop recording
Okay.
so that, thank you so much, Beth, but don't go anywhere.
Sounds good.